How's it going, folks? Seems like the video that I posted Friday ruffled some feathers the wrong way, and there are some people that I kind of do owe an apology to of sorts. Crazy Logie would be the one person. I'm big enough to admit when I'm wrong and apologize for it, but I wasn't really wrong. He was only mentioned in that video because of the fact that he was involved in what was going on at the time. Unlike some other people, he's actually a big enough person to let stuff just roll off and in time just forget about it. Just give it up. And for that, I'm thankful, because that's one less person I have to explain about when I do videos like this. And I don't like having to apologize to people, so I try and avoid hurting people's feelings in the first place. And I did keep mentioning those guys and them. I kind of grouped him in with the other people that I had a real issue with at the time. And that wasn't right. And for that I do apologize. That's all I apologize for, because everything else was factual, to the point. There was no filling it in or dramatizing any of it. For any of the people that weren't involved that were mentioned, there were reasons behind them being mentioned also. I can say that. But it wasn't intentionally to just hammer the heck out of them either. With Adrian, I was just a little upset about the way I'd been talked to in the comments, because it was a little harsh the way he came off. I can forget about it, and I can apologize for my comments, because it wasn't really necessarily called for, but at the time, because of the other comment that followed his, I got a little pissed and I let things fly. But again, that's the only time any of that'll be mentioned. So if you didn't get your fill of what actually happened through that video, you're not going to get it. And the only reason I'm addressing any of it right now is because I could see how Crazy Logie would have felt wronged, and it wasn't about him, because like I said, he let it go. I haven't heard anything about him being negative, or he hasn't talked crappy towards me at all in any of the comments or any of the he even came into the hangout one night, and he wasn't a butt to me. Now, he was to one of the other people, but it was well deserved at the time, because some of the things that were said to him, I was kind of like, no, you got a death wish, dude. But that's another whole story for a different day for somebody else to tell. Not my deal. I had nothing to do with it, but I was there. But like I said, he was a decent person, and I didn't have a problem with him then. I don't have a problem with him now. Again, the only reason he was mentioned is because of the fact that he was involved in the situation when it happened way back when. That being said, I've got to do another repair on my wife's truck. Not because my repair didn't hold, but because we bought a cheap Dorman knockoff of the original door handle on her truck, the inner door handle, and for some reason they make them out of the cheapest pot metal that they can possibly find. And I've also got to fix her window now, because it going up and down all the time, I guess, for them having to open the window since the door handle's been busted for over a week. The window finally decided it wasn't going to do its job anymore either. I think it just came off the track, though, from the way they describe it, and the fact that the window does still go up and down, or the actuator does. And I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to put it or how well it'll work, but I'm thinking about using the Action Cam AS15 that I got and putting it somewhere where you can actually see the door handle and watch all the replacements and everything. Plus, it being as small as it is, I can still get it into some of the tighter nooks and crannies to show the hard to see stuff, the stuff that you don't usually see on camera. There's not really a whole lot to the repair. The biggest thing is the nut that holds the whole door handle assembly in place. We did get another little cheap Dorman knockoff for right now. They're only like 13 bucks, so it's better than not having anything there. But I am going to get the original from the manufacturer so that we don't have to do this every 3 months or so, because that's gotten a little old. But that being said, let's get this thing going. I think I'm going to mount it on the side of the truck with the old suction cup mount and take the front cover off, because it's got a really good stereo mic in the front of it. It does also work through Wi-Fi on my phone. I believe I've shown video of it before when I first got it. Had it strapped to the side of the truck and drove up to the store. Kind of a rainy day, so it wasn't really good looking video. But I'll see what I can do with it today since it's kind of sunny out. But there is a breeze going too, so there's liable to be wind in it, and unfortunately there's no defeating that. But let's get at it. Okay, now as you see, the handle's good and properly busted here. It's not opening anything, and the window is so far down in there you can barely get to it. What you need is a 9/32 wrench to take these cup bolts out. The grab handle bolts, whatever you want to call them. These and the plastic hinges are the only thing that actually hold this thing in here. Yeah, I could probably do this faster with a ratchet, but I didn't want to haul all my tools out, not with this so muddy and everything. I've shown this before, but it was dark when I did, so I kind of wanted to do one in the light also. Alright. Doggone it. Doggone, can't hold on to a thing. Anyway, now all you got to do is bust these plastic. There's a tool for this, but of course I don't own one of those tools. But all you've got to do is pop the okay, now we reach the part where I have trouble because I can't do this one-handed, so I'm gonna have to set you guys down. Alright, after a minor camera emergency, knocked the thing out of my hands and down she went. So I popped the switch back in there. I didn't pop the mirror one back in because part of it was broken off before, but that's good enough to get you into the door like you need to be to get this handle off. Now I finally did get all those little white plastic retention screws or rivets out. After that, the whole thing just pops off. It's usually fairly simple. It's usually a lot more simple than this was. Alright, now this. First thing I want to do is take the rest of this Stick-Fit Insulate plastic off the door. It does have a function, but I'm going to have to get a new piece of plastic for it anyway. All that metal right there is from where I drilled the top rivet out before. Yeah, I actually make that screw fit because I'm tenacious that way. Okay. That can go in the trash. Looks like the wind's gonna probably carry it off anyway. Alright, now, as I suspected, the window has slid off track, and it looks like the roller has broken free from the window and the actuator. So this is no longer just a simple door repair fix. This is now major surgery. Let me shut this thing off so I can get a little better look at everything here, and we'll find out exactly what happened and see if we can reverse the problem. Okay. The worst of all possible scenarios that could have happened has happened. See that arm, the top of that piece of metal right here? Not sure how well it shows down in there, but somehow or another this got bound up and actually ripped the metal. That usually does not happen. And I have no clue how it would have gotten bound up. There's nothing in there for it to bind on. But here's the window actuator itself, the arms for it, and you can clearly see it's ripped. And it's not ripped because it wasn't lubricated well enough, because they still had plenty of goop on them. Plenty of lithium grease. So, looks like I get to go buy another actuator somewhere. Fun. And that means I'll be tearing into this door again soon too. But, let's go ahead and get this door handle swapped out, and I'll have to figure something out about holding the window up, because we can't have it just sitting out in the open air like this. Overnight it was no big deal because it didn't rain last night, but we can't let it just sit out here like this. Okay. Wasn't working out too well with the Handycam. Doesn't look like it's going to work out too well with this one either. Hang on. Okay, I've turned the nut off the back of this. You can see I actually, well, you probably can't see it, but I actually cut that screw down. It was about twice as long as what it is, and I just cut it down and have a lock washer and a nut on the back side of it. Unfortunately, I've done this repair so many times I can almost do it in my sleep now. And this slides forward and out. You don't have to worry about unhooking the door linkage because it fell out with the other part of the door that broke. That was the lock linkage that was hooked in right there. That was the old. And then here is the new $13 job that you get from Advance or AutoZone, either one. Neither one of them are any count. They don't last long at all. They're made out of the cheapest pot metal you could absolutely find to make a door handle out of all things. But it's what we got to work with for right now, so when I get the original from the manufacturer for her, then, or I could do the junkyard thing for that matter, but see, Dorman. Better than nothing, but not much. Anyhow, let's get this thing ripped out and get it slapped into that hole. Get it working again. At least that part will be working, and then we can figure out something for the window until I can get a new actuator. When I get ready to put the new actuator in, I'm going to have to drill that out, that, and that. That's where they all attach. Those 4 rivets hold it in. So I'm going to be doing the getting creative thing with the bolts and screws again to put the new actuator in it. Either that, or I guess I could take this whole inner panel off and just do it out in the yard. Well, Kicker speakers are holding up pretty good. These are the Kicker brand mids and tweets. They've actually done a really good job for her. They still scream pretty well, even with just the radio power. I think it's got, she wanted the newer Exelon series than mine, and hers has the higher watt range for the amp on the speakers. I think it's like mine's 50 per channel off of the stereo, and hers is 55 or 60, something like that. But anyway, that's where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and get this slid back in here, or at least ripped out of the package, and I'll pick you back up. Alright, so here we go. First thing we're going to do is hook up that, oh, they're even greasing it now. They didn't do that before. We're going to hook up that little lock arm. Okay, lock arm is installed. Now, the arm for the handle to actuate the door and open it properly is right there. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a good way to show this. I'm going to try putting the camera right here and see if I can angle it to where you can see down in there. Let me get up and take a look. Well, you can see the arm down in there. That's what's got that little red bit on it. So, camera strap out of the way. And one thing I'd like to show is there's little teeth on here that you put this in the hole and slide it back into place like so. Now your lock should work just with that. But you still got to put that latch bolt in there or the whole thing will slide all the time. You don't want that either. Now, there it goes. Pops in. You put your bolt back in here, and your lock washer and nut on the back side of it. Now I've started this on. Let's see if I can do this. Started this on with my finger on the back side there. Now because it is a lock washer, once you get it so tight, it won't let it spin anymore. And that's how you replace the door handle. in daylight this time. You always want to check your actuator and see. This doesn't let you pull it very far at all. The original one pulls way out to here. This one, you got a little bit and that's it. But that's also all it usually takes to open the door. Let's test that action before I go buttoning it back up again. Door opens up. Do need to hit it with some more. That latch plastic's worn up. Okay, probably wouldn't hurt to hit this with some lithium grease. This truck's over 10 years old, and I haven't done a good regular maintenance on it in a while, so it could probably use a good little bit of attention now. Need to hit all the lube points and everything. The door's squeaking. Of course, I need to do the back brakes on this one too. I don't know if I have a chance to get at that during the daylight or not. But this is Sunday. This is the only real day I've got to do it. With working nights, it's kind of hard. Because if I don't get enough sleep, I'm a grouchy son. Anyway, let's see what I can do about this window. And then I'll button this thing back up. And she'll be ready to rock and roll. And there you have it. It's just the same thing in reverse. Of course, I don't have the beauty ring to go around that. That's another thing I'd like to check into when I go to either the salvage yard or the dealer, is getting that ring that goes around there, because the other ones all have it on it, but this one don't. I've also got to get a passenger side mirror because my son don't know how to drive and knocked it off. Yay. Also, I know now why these things come when you try to purchase them used. They've usually got an extra battery. I know why now. Basically, who would want to record in 720p with this thing when it just looks so darn good at 1080p? Last thing I want to mention before I end this today is, man, you people really got issues. The ones in the comments the other day for that last video, wow. Well, I appreciate some of you that kind of voiced your opinion on the whole thing. There's some of you that kind of went overboard. There's things that I'm not really trying to judge you or anything, but there's some things that were said that were pretty bad off. If they were said to me, I'd have been royally upset. And I'd have had a big rant video on it. I'm not trying to promote hate or anything here. The only reason that was mentioned, the only reason the video was done, was because I've been repeatedly asked about what happened. I wanted to get all of it out in the open so I don't get asked every couple days or every week or so what happened. And I still was. I mean, even after all this time. Because people were really curious about it. I'm not going to knock them for being curious. Of course, I noticed only one of them spoke up, and that's the person that only asked me about it, I think maybe once, possibly twice. But either way, that's all that's going to be said. But I am still keeping up with the e-cigarette thing, and somewhere do still have my solid pack still being crushed in the console, not opened, just sitting there. Haven't borrowed anybody else's either, so that's not the issue. The issue is I quit smoking. This is my replacement. And I'm still happy that I can puff on this thing all night long at work and it doesn't offend anybody. I've been 75 days. I don't have my phone on me, so it's kind of hard to come off with all the figures just right. 75 days that I haven't smoked, and I think it was like 2,500 cigarettes, or 2,600 and some odd cigarettes that I haven't smoked, and over $700 that I've saved by not smoking. Of course, that number dwindles down a little bit when you consider what I've spent on the juice for these things and these things themselves. I know I've got, I think my wife spent $30 on this one. It's the Ego C Twist. And she bought me and her both one. And basically I'm using her other battery from of these that we got. That's what the purple one is that you've seen in the videos too. Because she got a new one that's digital and all that she won. So I mean, she's got 2 batteries with it, and it's doing her just fine. This one's doing me just fine. This one and the other battery. Take the charger to work with me too, because you never know. Anyway, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna button that window up. The door panel's all back together and everything, and the door latch is working right. As long as they don't go ratcheting on it too hard, it should stay plenty functional for them. I'll probably get about 3 more months out of it till I got to come out and do it again, unless we get the one of the original ones to put back in it. But I've also got to find out what I'm going to do about the actuator in there now, because with that actuator arm being ripped, it kind of makes me wonder, somebody might have been doing something they shouldn't have done, or trying to roll the window up with somebody leaning on it or something like that, and it just ripped the stinking metal. I've never seen a window arm do that before. So I know what I got to replace, and I'm not really looking forward to it, but it is what it is. So that being said, that's my video for today. It's a Sunday, so there wasn't going to be a long talk or a ride down the road or anything like that, but figured while I was out here enjoying all the fresh air and doing the repair anyway, I'd crank the camera up and give it fits. But thank you for watching. I do appreciate each and every one of you, and you guys have a great day.